So the endochondral ossification is just like a story. The story starts from this model, then this, and then this, and then so on. So what is this model? This model is exactly of that bony shape which has to be formed, which is composed of the hyaline cartilage. Now the question is how this hyaline cartilaginous model is formed. Behind all these models there is a sheath which is the mesenchymal sheath. Mesenchymal sheath has a lot of mesenchymal cells. The aggregation of these mesenchymal cells under the influence of fibroblastic growth factor and under the influence of bone morphogenic proteins, these mesenchymal cells express the type 2 collagen, and that type 2 collagen forms the chondroblast, and that chondroblast then gives rise to the cartilaginous matrix, and that cartilaginous matrix forms the cartilaginous model. It's a very simple procedure. Again I will repeat it. The mesenchymal sheath, the mesenchymal cells, these cells under the influence of fibroblastic growth factor and the bone morphogenic proteins, these cells will express the type 2 collagen, and that type 2 collagen differentiates into the chondroblast, and that chondroblast forms the cartilaginous matrix, and that cartilaginous matrix will form the cartilaginous model. Now this model is formed, that is the step 1 of the endochondral ossification. This cartilaginous model has upper and lower end and the central part and these small cells, and the outer shiny layer of this cartilaginous matrix is called the perichondrium. That perichondrium gives rise to the cells which are related to the cartilage like the chondroblasts and the chondrocytes, and these are small centrally placed perichondrial cells. Now this perichondrium in this model functionally acts like the periosteum and give rise to a thin bony collar initially from the central part, and then after that this whole bony collar will extend in the upper part and the lower part, or you can say whole of the central part of the model, that is called the diaphysis, and the upper part and the lower part are called the epiphysis. Then the length of the cartilaginous model will increase. This is by the interstitial growth, and the width of the cartilaginous model will also increase, but the width will increase by the extra deposition of the chondrocytes and the chondroblast layer by layer and layer by layer. Just like in this tissue roll, you can see there are so many layers, and this is central part is the cartilaginous model. When the layers are deposited around this cartilaginous model, that will increase the width of the cartilaginous model. Same will happen with the thickness of the bone and same with the thickness of the cartilage. So many layers of the chondrocyte and the chondroblast that will increase the width of the cartilage. After the formation of the bony collar, the osteoblast cells are formed. These osteoblast cells start secreting the osteogenic layer, that is thin creamy or the yellow in its color, and this type of bony collar is formed that will then elongate. The formation of the bony collar always starts from the center of the cartilaginous model. These are all the cells, and inside this model there are also large quantity of the cells. These are all chondrocytes, This model is completely filled by the chondrocyte, but this model is not completely filled. In the center there is the deficiency of the chondrocyte that we will discuss now. They reside in a cavity that is called the lacunae. In the center they have the darkly stained nucleus, and the peripheral part of the cytoplasm is lightly stained. Consider these two pins as the chondrocytes. These chondrocytes are surrounded by the cartilaginous matrix. They are separated from each other, but when they will become hypertrophied, the space between both of them will reduce, and the bony matrix inside both of them that will come in the form of irregular plates, and the cartilaginous matrix that surrounds them that will undergo the calcification. Because of inhibition of the diffusion of the nutrients into these chondrocytes, that will lead to the death of the chondrocytes in the cartilaginous model and formation of a cavity between the chondrocytes. These are all the empty chondrocytes that undergo the death after the inhibition of the nutrients and the oxygen by the formation of the bony collar and centrally placed cavity. While all these events are occurring, one or the several blood vessels, they start penetrating the bony collar at the level of the diaphysis, and then they will enter into the cavity, and they will start the vascularization of this cavity with all the type of the blood cells. Outside this, still there is a layer of the mesenchyme which contains a mesenchymal stem cells. These mesenchymal stem cells start penetrating the cartilaginous model via these blood vessels. With the mesenchymal stem cells, another type of the cells which are called the hemopoietic stem cells. Still this model has a cavity with the dead chondrocytes with a very thin space between these dead chondrocytes. All this happens at the center of the bone, and that center of the bone is at the diaphysis, and that point where the formation of the bone starts is called the primary ossification center. Coming to this model, which shows the bony collar with a thin layer which is called periosteum with the bony cells, the cartilaginous part with the cartilaginous cells and the blood vessels and the penetrating blood vessels, and the two type of the cells, both the cartilaginous cells and the irregularly shaped bony cells, and this pattern is called the mixed specule pattern, which has both the cartilaginous specules and the bony specule, and the penetrating blood vessels moving towards these cartilage and also towards the bones, and the center has a cavity, and the blood vessels also lies inside the cavity to form the bone marrow over here and to move the blood cells into these cavities. The upper part, which is called the epiphysis, later on at this level again the cartilage is replaced by the bone, and that part is called the secondary ossification center, because this occurs after the formation of the primary ossification center at the level of the diaphysis. This point starts ossifying at the embryonic life, and this point starts ossifying when someone achieves his or her length and his or her own growth. Coming towards another model, this is the bigger picture of a model which has again the epiphysis, which has hyaline cartilage, the part which is trying to convert into the bony part, and the purely bony part with its specular shape structure, with bony collar having the different type of the cells with blood vessels, and the blood vessels are moving inside this cartilaginous model. The blood vessels start penetrating the bony collar, and this whole model shows the mixed specular pattern having both the cartilage and the bone. This is purely cartilaginous, this is bony which is trying to convert into the bone, and that is purely bony, and inside this model these are the dead chondrocytes which resides into the lacunae, but after the death these chondrocytes move at the one side of the lacunae. Now they are very small in their size as compared to the other chondrocytes, and these newly formed bone shows different type of the cells. The one which is larger, this is called the osteoclast. These large number of smaller cells, these are osteoblasts. These off-white color structure is newly formed bone. Osteoblasts lie at the periphery. Inside the periphery, the cells are called osteocytes, and between the osteoblasts and the osteocytes lies a thin bony matrix, and the blue colored structure is the calcified cartilage. So this whole is the endochondral ossification. Now I will repeat it or revise it with the help of the models. This is a hyaline cartilage model, shape of the bone that has to be formed. Outer is periosteum, and these are the periosteal cells, and these are all chondrocytes that lies inside the lacunae or inside the cavity with darkly stained nucleus, lightly stained cytoplasm. Then after that a thin bony collar is formed in the center, which is called the diaphysis, and the upper and lower end both are the epiphysis, which are the cartilaginous. This central bony collar has large quantity of the cells, and now this layer is functionally called the periosteum instead of the perichondrium. This periosteal layer will start secreting the osteoblast cells. After that, the bony collar will elongate. The periosteal size will also increase. The quantity of the cell of the periosteum will also increase. And inside this model, you can see the empty cavity that is formed by the death of the chondrocyte, because when the bony collar is formed, the oxygenation and the nutrient supply will finish at this point, and these chondrocytes will increase in their size or will undergo the hypertrophy, and the spaces between these chondrocytes will decrease, and the cartilaginous matrix between these hypertrophied cells will be just like in the form of the thin cartilaginous plates, and then these cells completely undergo the death. Meanwhile, in the thin bony collar, there is formation of the blood vessel. That blood vessel will start moving the mesenchymal stem cell with them, along with the hemopoietic stem cells, and these mesenchymal stem cells, when move inside the cavity, not only the vascularization will start, but also they will differentiate into the osteoprogenitor cells. When the mesenchymal stem cells starts moving via the blood vessels into this cavity, they will differentiate into the osteoprogenitor cells. The osteoprogenitor cells will form the osteoblast, and osteoblast will secrete the osteoid that will undergo the mineralization and then form the osteocytes. So this is a mixed pattern in which the whole one is a cartilage with its cells. This is the bone which is darkly stained, and cartilage is always lightly stained, and then the bony specules are formed. This is the initial step of the formation of the bony specules, and the blood vessels are penetrating, and this is the mixed specular pattern. And the outside this model, there is again the bony collar, the part which is between the cartilage and the bone, and that is the purely cartilage, and the penetrating blood vessels along with the osteoblasts. The last and the biggest model, which shows the cartilage, the bony part, the fully mature bony specule with the osteoclasts, the bony trabecle, not actually the specules, because when the specules they combine, they form the bony trabecle, and outside them is the osteoclast. At the periphery are the osteoblasts, inside the osteocytes, and this is the very thin calcified layer of the cartilage, and this is again the marrow cavity that will, after the full formation of the bone, contains the bone marrow along with the blood vessel and all the other cells. So this is the formation of the bone by the endochondral ossification. As I told before, that the center of the ossification from which this endochondral ossification starts is called the primary ossification center, that is at the level of the diaphysis and at the central part of the bone. And when a person achieves his or her growth, then that ossification takes place at the level of the epiphysis, and when it starts at the level of the epiphysis from a point that is called the secondary ossification center. The endochondral ossification actually begins at the level of the 12th week of the development. It will remain continuous in adulthood. The length of the bones, how it is achieved, as I told before, there are the two parts of the bone. One is called the diaphysis, that is the central part. Others are called the epiphysis, that are the extremities. Between both of them there is a thin layer of the cartilage that is called the epiphyseal cartilage. So the length of the bone depends on the epiphyseal cartilage. If the diaphysis and if the epiphyseal cartilage will complete its growth early, then the height will achieve at that age, and if it will replaced by the bone in later on, then the height will achieve according to that age.